This video is basically a follow-up to two videos that I did recently talking about my predictions and what I want to see from the new Smash Bros. Both took place before the E3 presentation. If you haven't watched those, I highly recommend you check them out. So I was pretty close with the idea of what the name would be for this. Or it could be kind of like a strong super term like Ultra or Elite. Now that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has finally been elaborated on, there's a lot of excitement and a lot of concern. On one hand, it's fantastic that we're getting every character back, but what about the new ones? How few did Sakurai mean?
We've made including every single fighter ever our #1 goal, so I'm kind of hoping you aren't expecting too many new challengers.
A lot of people were or are worried that this will just feel like a port, and what else is in the game that we haven't heard about, especially considering modes. In this video, I want to take a deep look at everything that we've seen so far, everything that I've found on the internet regarding Smolt, and my impressions playing it in person at the Nintendo World Store. So first, let's take a look at everything we've seen online. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the vibe of Smash Ultimate. It definitely pulls a lot from both the Wii U and 3DS versions of the game, but has splashes of both Brawl and Melee. That's not to say it's derivative or doesn't bring anything new. Ultimate has a very smooth, rounded feel that almost feels dreamlike, especially with some of the stages. And man, that Ridley cinematic absolutely looks gorgeous. The only thing I don't like so far is that the menus seem very focused on primary colors and very basic shapes, and I don't know how I feel about that. I kinda hope what we've seen so far of that is just for a demo build, but I guess we'll see later in the final version. Oh my, the characters. Definitely the biggest thing that's blown up about this game's release is that every single character from Smash Bros. Is in this one, and I do think that that is absolutely incredible. I also love the idea that you can have a really small starting roster. I think that's going to make for a really engaging play experience. I'm definitely shocked that they brought everyone, including Pichu and Young Link, back. I wonder how that's going to contrast with the other versions of those characters. And in terms of new fighters, we have Daisy, Inkling, and they did it. My hope about the costumes being very varied and different in this is somewhat true. They did it for Mario and for Link, and I'm sure they'll do it for some other characters. But in general, a lot of it is just color swaps, and that's fine. There's no word on if taunts are going to be set again or if there's going to be any customization to that. Something that I forgot to talk about in my last video is that I was hoping that Mii fighters would have a couple more classes added to them to make them more varied and interesting, and so far it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that, which is a shame. So now I want to talk about some of the confirmed assist trophies, which may completely spear people's hopes for characters being in the game, and then the possible newcomers I think could still appear in the game, either on launch or as DLC. Looking at the assist trophies, I obviously want to take a moment of silence for none other than Waluigi. Alright, that's it. I have the feeling that Nintendo tried to develop a moveset for him and just couldn't. Especially looking at the inclusion of Ridley, the fact that they would just completely snub him and not think about it feels unlikely to me. I think they took a look at his character, tried to develop a moveset and make him a playable fighter, and they just weren't happy with it. Or they think we're all just idiots and don't give a crap. The other assist trophies that I wanted to see as playable characters are Crystal, Samurai Goro, Bomberman, and Midna, and while I'm sad that they're not going to be playable, I think they'll still work fine as assist trophies. And I like the ability to KO them as well, though I think that they explicitly showed that happening to Waluigi as kind of a subtle nod that they really don't want him as a playable character. So Sakurai said that he hoped we didn't want too many new characters to join this massive roster. And looking at the new characters from Smash 4, that can mean anything. That can mean 2 or 3, or that can mean like 6 or 7. I think that we're going to safely see 5 or 6 total newcomers, not including DLC. That includes Daisy, Inkling, and Ridley. I think we might hear about 1 or 2 more, but at least one of them is going to remain a secret. There's also assist trophies that we haven't seen come back yet, which may or may not mean that they could be playable. For example, Shadow the Hedgehog and Dark Samus could both be Echo fighters of Sonic and Samus respectively, and we also haven't seen Custom Robo or Isaac yet. I have a feeling that we'll see them all as assist trophies, but it is weird that we haven't seen them pop up in any gameplay yet. Maybe they're just not ready. So who from my prediction video do I most want or hope to be in Smash Ultimate as a playable character at launch? Well, I think that any of the DK characters still have a pretty good chance. King K. Rool would be a great addition, Funky Kong as an Echo character could work, or Dixie Kong as an Echo character. Bandana D, I'm not so sure about. I think he might be an assist trophy rather than a playable character, Though if they already have Knuckle Joe, maybe they think that that's enough. A new Pokemon is basically definite, probably at launch, but if not, 100% is DLC. Rex and Pyra is also pretty likely. They've been putting a lot of emphasis on the Xenoblade series, and looking at third party, I think Rayman is the most likely to get in. With Nintendo's relationship with Ubisoft, I think that he's still pretty likely. So who are the most likely characters for DLC? Well, Paper Mario and Geno both still have a chance. Impa or Tetra, probably most likely Impa. I would love for Sylux to get in, but now that Ridley's in, I don't know if he even has a chance anymore. Maybe as DLC after Metroid 4 if he's still in it, and hopefully he's not an Echo Fighter. Tails is pretty possible, since Knuckles is an assist trophy, and it would be fun to have those three together. I'm still going to fight my hardest for Henry Fleming, but I don't have a lot of hope. Banjo-Kazooie, Doom Guy, Shantae, Shovel Knight, Simon Belmont, and Wonder Red all feel pretty possible, but also fairly unlikely depending on how hard they want to go with the number of fighters on this roster. And Springman is my most likely to be DLC. I think they'll see how the franchise continues to sell. Maybe he's not quite ready now, but I think he's absolutely going to join as a DLC fighter. Unrelated to that topic, but it's still in terms of playable characters, I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to be able to play as Master Hand. They've already scaled down one massive boss that they might consider it as an option, and I think that if we beat Classic Mode with every single character at launch, maybe we'll be able to play as him. Or at least there will be a mode where we can control him. Another thing I'd really like to see with the DLC fighters is rolling them out with some kind of mini classic mode or added event fights, whether you have to play these new modes to unlock that DLC character, or if they just come with the character. Either way, I think that would be a lot cooler than just kind of adding them to the game, especially with the whole feel of unlocking a ton of characters in Ultimate. One final thing for the new characters we might see in Ultimate, there's now a rumor going around that there's supposedly at least half a dozen more newcomers to Smash Ultimate. This coming from the same person who quote-unquote leaked the return of Snake and Ice Climbers and the inclusion of Ridley. This person also said that Simon Belmont would be in the game, as well as something from Minecraft, or at least Microsoft related, and I believe they also leaked the title as well. So assuming this person has some credibility, let's say that brings us up to 9 total newcomers, the 3 we already know about and 6 more. I think the most likely newcomers from that new 6 are Rayman, Simon Belmont, a new Pokemon, either Decidueye or Lycanroc, Rex and Pyra, King K. Rool, and one other person I'm not super sure about. It could be Bandana D, it could be Master Hand if I'm right about that. Regardless, if we are seeing another half a dozen new people, I think those are the people with the best bet to get in. The number of stages in this game is even more massive than the number of characters right now. It's easier to say what stages aren't coming back than the ones that are. This is based off of the wiki and also a series of videos that has come out that I'll link in the description. If we're being honest, I really truly think we're getting every single one of those stages. I think that this Smash Bros is supposed to be a culmination of everything that we've seen so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got all those stages and new ones. We've already seen the new stages from Zelda and Splatoon, and there's also proof that we'll be getting a new Dunk City or maybe an Odyssey type of stage. So I wouldn't be surprised that there's even more along with that. It's also been confirmed that you can both have Omega and Battlefield versions of every stage and can toggle hazards, both of which I think are amazing moving forward. The thing we've seen least of in all these new announcements is modes, which is definitely disheartening and can be worrisome thinking of how new this game is going to feel. With the sheer number of these characters that are in the game, the 3 64 minigames coming back, customized to each fighter, has a super low probability. Hopefully we get like 5 to 10 different levels of difficulty for each that can be used with any fighter, and that based on the scaling difficulty of Classic Mode, that's how they appear in that. Besides those, every mode that I've said to come back in the other videos should be able to. I wouldn't be surprised if they did both Smash Run and Smash Tour, like I said, putting everything in from the old Smash Bros. Games, so hopefully they've overhauled that. Another thing I forgot to mention in my older videos is that I want there to be a stock fighter mode, which is basically what everyone wants, which is the end of Smash Tour, where you can set a different fighter for every stock, and I really wouldn't be surprised if they still put that in. I'm also still all for my platform control idea. So now everyone's wondering if we're going to get a Subspace 2 or some kind of giant story mode. A friendly man named Alex was in line with me waiting to play Smash Ultimate in New York. and he had a theory that we've only been seeing the Omega form of Battlefield used as Final Destination because the real Final Destination would give away some kind of spoiler about the new story mode, or there's just something about the design that they don't want us to see because it's tied in with some other big mode. And I think that that's pretty plausible. As I keep saying, they're bringing everything in from these old games, so I really wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of subspace or at least a big adventure mode in the game. But like I said, I really need to start seeing these new modes to be sold on the fullness of the game. Hopefully they didn't just put all the effort into all these fighters. So the day after Nintendo's E3 presentation, I went up to New York with two of my friends to play the demo version of the game at the Nintendo World Store. I played it a total of 4 times, though the first time I played it I was on the big screen and the latency on that was awful, so any data I could have collected from that was just completely scrapped. But in my other playing experiences, the game feels great. If you want a more in-depth look at all the tech stuff and all the new mechanics of the game, there's an amazing article that I found that I'll link in the description that basically covers all of it. But as somebody who is mostly casual but plays with some pretty competitive people, I thought it feels great. It's a lot like Smash 4, but it definitely mixes in a lot of that melee speed and heaviness. Everything is fast and to the point, which is exactly what they said they wanted. My main is Samus, and I still really like using her. Out of them all, Corrin definitely feels the most the same. I think he's more or less unchanged, at least visibly, and Link is by far the most different compared to Smash 4. The remote bomb, the lack of a hook shot, and the exit of the Gale Boomerang definitely are going to take time to get used to for Link mains. The main technical thing that I'm going to have to get used to is the reversing of perfect shielding. It's something that I'm not sure I fully like. I get the aggressive idea behind it, but it is going to take a while for me to get used to in the moment. I'm also going to have to get used to using the Switch Pro controller as opposed to the Wii U, which I think is a little bit smaller and more scrunched, so I definitely see myself binding the shoulder button controls to the triggers as well. So after 3 months of waiting to hear more about it, we finally have it. The question is, now what? We have the Smash blog on the official website to keep us updated and give us a constant feed of new information, which is at least nice. But I think that Smash Ultimate is going to be more than just another iteration of Smash Bros. Based off of them seemingly want to bring every single thing in from the old games, or at least the things that worked, I have a really strong feeling that this is Sakurai's last Smash Bros. I think he wants this to be one giant gift and one perfect Smash Bros. Before he completely lets go of the franchise. I also think that with DLC and consistent updates, they really plan to make this Smash last for years to come. And based off of what they've shown so far, I have full confidence that this will be the best Smash Bros. So far. So thank you, Sakurai, and I can't wait to see what else you have to show us. And that's all I have to talk about for now. I'm sure as we learn more about the game, I'll be able to make more videos about it, but until then, we've got a long wait ahead of us for December 7th. I'm hoping that with the launch of Nintendo's online service, they'll also add a demo of Smash Bros. To help promote it. That would definitely be nice, as that's basically right in between now and the release of the actual game. So until next time, thanks for watching, please subscribe, check out the Taurus Tales EP, and I'll see you next time.